Hello fellow humans. Today's video is a little bit different, and that is because I am trying to feed two birds with one crumb here, and that is I have a bunch of clothes that need to be altered and I just cannot sit down and do anything to them. Like, it's so hard to force myself to do that because I feel like the payoff isn't that big, but like it's a lot of work. So I just keep putting it off. I just keep doing other things. And then the other thing is that I originally planned out a video that should have gone up like 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point. But the project is taking significantly longer than expected. Actually, that's entirely on me. I should have expected the difficulty of that. But either way, it's still not ready yet, so I don't want to put too much of a gap between videos, so I'm going to smash this out now. So, I hope you at least enjoy while I chat while fixing my clothes. So, this first one is this blazer thing. It's not really a blazer, but you saw me make it and I never finished off the edges. I have not hemmed either the bottom or the sleeves, and the only problem that I'll encounter with this is the fact that these sleeves are actually the perfect length right now, but if I hem it, they might be a little bit short, but they might be like awkwardly short instead of like properly short, so I'm gonna have to work that out. But so far this is all cool. Let's talk while I am hemming up the bottom of this blazer. It has gotten pretty warm out these days. The funny thing about that is that it's actually not warm today. It's actually one of the colder days that we have had in quite a while. Actually, like this whole week. It's like 16 degrees today, and every other day in like the past week was like 25 degrees, you know, at least like 23 degrees plus. And it was actually nice. It was kind of nice having the warmth back, but then it's also terrifying to think that if this is September and there's a possible 30-degree day coming up in the next 7 days, then we're pretty cooked for the summer. And we also know that because the El Nino weather event was just announced, and it is all over my news page. Like, every news website in Australia right now wants you to know that we're heading for El Nino season. And if you don't know what that is, basically there are two weather events that can happen in Australia. There's also like a neutral zone, and we like the neutral zone, but they're influenced by what's happening over like the Pacific and just like generally guided by the weather over the Pacific Ocean. And there is two weather events in this system, and those are the El Nino and the La Nina. The El Nino is the dry season, which leads to a lot of droughts and bushfires, and it's truly horrific. La Nina isn't that much better. It is the incredibly wet season, so at least while we're not dealing with droughts, we're also dealing with significantly more cyclones and floods. And we have been in the La Nina season for a couple of years, which is why we had those really bad floods last year, and the year before that. But now we're heading for El Nino, and they're thinking some pretty bad bushfires. And the last time we had the bushfires was the Black Summer ones, and they were awful. Obviously any bushfire is awful, but those ones, like, those are the worst I've ever seen in my life. And that's because you know, there was like smoke everywhere around my house, even though I live in suburban Melbourne. It was difficult to breathe. It was crazy back then, and I do not, for the safety of everyone, want anything like that to happen again. But obviously with climate change and getting significantly more severe and dry seasons, it's hard. So I don't know if you realized,
or even really care, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna stop me. But jet lag is back with another season, and this time I am super, super, super stoked because it is a rerun, or like basically the same game rules as their season 3, which is Tag Across Europe, which is my absolute favorite season. And technically I'm already 3 episodes in. I'm actually rewatching the first and second episodes now because the third one just came out yesterday and it feels weird to rewatch it already. But if you haven't started watching Jet Lag, please do. It's awesome. I have fully hemmed this. I also just hemmed the sleeves as normal. I didn't try to do anything fancy, just because I wanted to see how it would go. And my thought process was that if I did this and they were too short, then I'll just make like the cuff parts separately and then I could just sew those on anyways. Like, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But good thing, the sleeves actually aren't that short. I tried to do like the finest hemming that I could do possible. It's still not that fine because like the way I cut up the fabric wasn't exactly that even, but it's okay, we'll live. And yeah, the length is fine, and I am super happy to have this done because now I can actually wear it out. And there's several times where I've looked at my wardrobe when I am like planning what to wear to uni, and I'm like, I would like to wear that. And then I never can because it's not hemmed. But now it is hemmed, so I can wear that. And you know what is even awesomer than having this done? It's the fact that my next piece of clothing that I need to fix up is this dress. And the thread that I already have in the machine is the exact color of this as well. So I don't need to change it. Godsend.
Next up is this dress, which you also saw me make, but the problem with this is the shape, and because of this weird shape where I've actually made it too wide, but I haven't made it wide enough at the bottom, like the gradient of this is not consistent, which means that it looks like a weird pentagon triangle situation, and it's just not flattering. And also I did put pockets in this, so it'll be sad to see them go, you know, but because they're like so far down, like I have to actively bend over like this to put my hands in them or to reach for anything in them. So realistically they weren't that practical, so I'm alright that I have to cut them out. But the alterations that we just need to make with this are adding new seams on 2 sides and just cutting off the excess. So it's actually not even that hard, but I'm a procrastinator, so I had to put it off.
My biggest concern these days is actually kind of funny. That is, I think I'm forgetting German. If you didn't know, I studied German in school, so less like studied and more like casually learned a couple phrases and some grammatical structure and stuff like that, all through year 4 to year 12. So since I graduated year 12 last year, I was learning it up until October of last year. And I loved it. I love learning new languages, but because since October of last year, which is almost a year ago, I haven't really had that much, brush-ins with the German language or any homework or study that I need to do or anything that really requires a complicated knowledge of German. Like, I've seen a couple memes online and I can understand them just fine, but they're just memes and it's not that advanced. But what if I forget? And considering that I'm planning a Europe trip based solely on the fact that, at least for a portion of it, I will be able to communicate for some reason, and also because I don't actually want to forget the language I learned. It's super cool knowing different languages. And so my solution to that problem is that now I'm going to start teaching my brother. The only other problem with that is teaching my brother, who is still very young, means I can't teach him all of the complicated things, and it doesn't matter if I can't teach him the complicated things. Like, teaching him won't matter because I already know all of the simple stuff that's involved in German. Like, I have learnt that years and years and years ago. Like, I know that stuff off by heart now. It's just the stuff that I learnt last year and in year 11 that's more new and fresh and that I'm more susceptible to forgetting. And unfortunately, I don't know how to keep remembering it. So I'm going to start giving myself homework. I'm going to start working through textbooks and doing everything. I'm going to start writing paragraphs. I'm going to try find a German friend to proofread them for me. And I'm going to get back into this. So I am totally rocking this alterations day because look, I know you can't see to the bottom, but like that weird shape is gone. It falls nicely now. This is awesome. And I also had some things that I wanted to try, like dyeing with this dye, which I bought a while ago. But I obviously have not gotten to them in the entire time that I have had this dye. So now I'm planning to actually try and do it. The only problem is I'm gonna have to like troubleshoot a little because I don't have any stove. Well, I don't have any pan that I can use on the stove to dye the clothes in. And this says that we need to maintain the temperature the whole time. And as a chemistry student, I do know a little bit about needing to maintain a temperature for a certain experiment. So I'm gonna see if I can figure something about that out. First of all, I need to calculate exactly how much water I would need, and I've just weighed out my clothes and they are 656 grams, so I need to do some math and some conversions because this is all in pounds and gallons, and I do hate those, but I also don't know what those are. So yeah, I think this one might be a bust because this says that I need to for every like half a bottle of this that I use, and I need to use about half, a little bit more than half this bottle for my fabric, I need to use 3 gallons of water. So 3 gallons is 11 liters, and I don't have a vessel to contain 11 liters and some fabric at all, let alone something that I can use on the stove. So I think that's going to be it for now. I think this is a sure sign telling me that maybe it's time to pack it up for the day and work on some of my assignments. That being said, I do hope that you at least somewhat enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have a good day, and I shall see you next time.